What if the presence of God was not something to be sought, but something that has been seeking you? What if all this time, while you searched, prayed, and longed for divine connection, an unseen force was already moving toward you, whispering, in moments of stillness, arranging the steps of your life, waiting for you to finally notice? The greatest illusion is the belief that we are separate from the divine, that God is distant, hidden, waiting to be found. But what if this separation exists only in our perception? Like the sun behind the clouds, God has never left. His presence is not something we need to reach, it is something we need to remember. There are moments when we feel this presence, fleeting glimpses, unexplainable synchronicities, a peace that comes from nowhere. But then, just as quickly, the world rushes in. Doubt, distractions, the weight of our thoughts. And suddenly the connection fades, leaving only silence where there once was certainty. But what if I told you that silence is not the absence of God, but His voice in a language beyond words? That the reason you feel lost is not because He has gone, but because you have yet to truly listen. You are here in this moment for a reason. This message is not an accident. Something within you already knows there is more, a deeper reality beyond what the eyes can see. You have been called to awaken, to rediscover what has always been yours, because the presence of God is not something to be earned. It is not hidden behind rituals, distant in the heavens, or reserved for the worthy. It is here now, surrounding you, filling the space between your breaths, and the only thing keeping you from it is the belief that you must seek what is already within. Since the dawn of time, humanity has searched for God, across ancient civilizations, in the depths of sacred texts, through whispered prayers in the still of night. This yearning has echoed through every soul that has walked the earth. The mystics of old wandered deserts, fasted in solitude, and meditated for days in search of divine communion. The sages of the East spoke of enlightenment, the prophets of the West of revelation. Every path, every tradition, every seeker bound by the same longing, the desire to touch the infinite. But buried beneath this longing is a paradox few dare to recognize. How can one seek that which has never been lost? How can one chase what is already present? St. Augustine once wrote, "Late have I loved you, O beauty so ancient and so new. You were within, but I was outside." These words carry a hidden truth. Our search for God has always been an outward journey for what can only be found within. The great mystics understood this. They spoke of the veil of illusion, the cloud of unknowing, the false idea that God is a being separate from ourselves. They taught that the divine does not hide from us. We hide from Him, behind walls of distraction, doubt, and fear. For centuries, seekers have believed they must endure trials to be worthy of God's presence. That suffering cleanses, that devotion earns divine favor. But true wisdom reveals a different path, not one of struggle, but of surrender, not one of reaching, but of realizing. Because the presence of God is not an object to be obtained. It is the space in which all things exist. It is the very breath that sustains you, the light behind your eyes, the force that moves through every moment of your life. The question is not where to find God. The question is, what is keeping you from seeing? The greatest barriers to God's presence are not physical. They are not locked away in temples or hidden in scripture. They are the unseen walls within, the fears, the doubts, the noise that drowns out the voice of the divine. We live in a world that teaches us to seek outside of ourselves, answers in books, guidance in authority, peace in achievement. And so we look everywhere, except the one place it has always been. Doubt whispers, "Am I worthy?" When in truth, God's love has never been conditional. Fear says, "What if I cannot hear Him?" When in reality, His presence has never ceased speaking. The mind races, clings, questions, when all it must do is become still. Imagine a river, wild and turbulent. Its waters thrash, clouded with mud, moving too fast to reflect the sky above. But when the river slows, when the surface becomes still, what was hidden is revealed. The sky, the trees, the world above. It was always there, waiting for the water to settle. Your soul is that river. The more noise, the less clarity. The more stillness, the clearer the reflection of God within you. This is why the ancients retreated to the mountains, the deserts, the quiet places. Not because God was there, and not here, but because silence allows us to hear what was always speaking. And so we must ask ourselves, have we been searching for God in the chaos when He has been waiting for us in the stillness? Have we been knocking on closed doors, unaware that He has already stepped inside? Because the presence of God is not a destination to reach. It is the space we create when we let go of everything that is not Him. The presence of God is not a distant promise, nor a treasure locked away for the chosen few. It is here now, woven into the very fabric of existence, waiting to be realized. But how does one move beyond mere belief? How does one shift from seeking to experiencing? The answer lies in stillness, not the absence of sound, but the quieting of the soul. In a world that demands motion, urgency, and control, stillness is the most radical act of faith. It is in this silence that something extraordinary happens. Not an external miracle, but an internal awakening. Close your eyes. Breathe in. For a moment, let the noise of your mind fade. What remains? This is where the presence of God is found. Not in striving, but in surrender. Not in the desperate plea for answers, but in the deep knowing that they are already within you. The great mystics knew this secret. They taught that prayer is not only asking, but listening. That meditation is not emptying the mind, but filling it with awareness of the divine. God's presence is not limited to sacred places or holy moments. It is in the quiet hum of the morning, the warmth of the sun on your skin, the rhythm of your breath, the stillness between heartbeats. But to enter this presence, you must release the idea that you must work for it. You must let go of the belief that you are separate from it. Like a fish unaware of the ocean it swims in, we have spent our lives immersed in the presence of God, yet blind to it. The moment we realize we are already in it, we awaken. And in that awakening, everything changes. Prayer is more than words whispered into the night. It is a doorway, a bridge, a sacred communion between the soul and the divine. Yet so many approach it as a ritual, an obligation, or a last resort. But what if prayer was not about asking, but about aligning? Not about pleading for change, but about stepping into the reality that has already been prepared for you. There is a reason Jesus said, "When you pray, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." True prayer is not begging for what is missing. It is declaring what is already given. It is stepping into divine certainty, even before the world confirms it. Every word spoken in faith carries power. Every prayer is an invitation for the unseen to become seen, for the eternal to manifest in the present moment. Imagine a key that unlocks a door. That key is not powerful on its own, but when placed into the right lock, it turns effortlessly. Prayer is the same. It is not the act itself, but the alignment of the heart that unlocks divine flow. Many pray with doubt, asking but not expecting. And so their prayers remain unanswered, not because God is silent, but because they have not. Yet realize that prayer is not just speaking, it is receiving. When you pray, do not pray as one who is uncertain. Pray as one who knows, as one who is already standing in the light of answered prayer, as one who understands that the divine does not withhold, but only waits for you to align. Right now, in this moment, let this be your prayer. I step into the presence of God. I release all fear, all doubt, all hesitation. I open my heart and I receive. And as you speak these words, know this: the presence you have been seeking has already found you. There is a power that watches over you. A force greater than any danger, stronger than any storm. The protection of God is not a shield made of iron, nor a fortress built by human hands. It is unseen, yet unbreakable. Think of a child who walks without fear, knowing their parent is near. This is the trust we are meant to have. But somewhere along the way we learn to fear. We begin to believe we must fight, defend, and struggle to survive. Yet Scripture tells us, He will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge. This is not poetry, it is truth. Divine protection is not about escaping hardship, but about walking through life unshaken, knowing you are held. There are moments when danger is near, but disaster does not touch you. Times when you should have been broken, yet you remain whole. These are not coincidences. These are the unseen hands of divine protection. But protection is not just physical, it is spiritual. The greatest attacks do not come from the outside, but from within. Doubt, fear, hopelessness, these are the weapons that seek to separate you from God's presence. Yet even in the darkest valley, you are not alone. The moment you call upon the divine, the moment you surrender control, you step under the covering of something greater. So now, hear this truth. You are not vulnerable. You are not unguarded. You are surrounded, upheld, watched over by forces unseen. And no matter what may come, the presence of God goes before you, beside you, and within you. You are safe. You are protected. You are never alone. Peace is not something to be earned, nor is it the absence of struggle. It is the stillness beneath the storm, the deep knowing that regardless of what unfolds, you are held in the hands of something greater. So many search for peace in the external, seeking stability in money, in relationships, in control over their future. But peace is not found in what can be taken away. It is not the fragile quiet that crumbles when life shifts. True peace is unshakable because it is not rooted in circumstance, but in surrender. Imagine floating in the ocean, struggling to stay above the waves. The more you fight, the more you sink, but the moment you let go, the water carries you. This is the nature of divine peace. It is not something you must create, but something you must surrender to. God does not promise a life without challenges. He does not remove the waves, but He teaches you to walk upon them. When fear whispers, "What if I fall?" faith answers, "What if you rise?" The mind will always seek control. It will ask questions it cannot answer, grasp at outcomes it cannot guarantee. But the soul knows something deeper. It knows that when you release the need to understand everything, you create space for God's presence to flood in. Right now, in this moment, you have a choice. You can hold on to the weight of fear, the need for certainty, the illusion of control, or you can let it all go. You can step into the flow of divine peace, knowing that you are guided, that you are seen, that you are safe. So breathe, let go, and know this: everything you seek has already been placed before you. All you must do is trust enough to receive it. You have walked this far not by accident but by divine design. Every step, every trial, every unanswered prayer has led you to this moment. And now you stand at the threshold of something greater, a life not defined by fear but by faith. The presence of God is not just a feeling, it is a way of being. It is waking up each day knowing that you are provided for, protected, and deeply loved. It is stepping forward, not because you have all the answers, but because you trust the one who does. You are not just a seeker, you are a receiver. What you have longed for is not beyond reach. It is already within you. You have only to open your heart and allow it in. Think of the rising sun. It does not rush, nor does it struggle to shine. It simply rises, and the darkness fades. This is what happens when you step fully into God's presence. The shadows of doubt, worry, and fear disappear, and all that remains is light. You were never meant to carry the weight of the world. You were never meant to live in uncertainty, questioning your place in the divine order. You were meant to be free, to live in joy, to walk in unwavering faith, knowing that your life is a reflection of a plan far greater than you could imagine. So let this be your final thought as you step forward. You are not alone. You never were. And now, as you embrace this truth, you will see the presence of God not as something distant, but as the very force that has been guiding you all along. Your journey is not ending. It is only just beginning.